Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to some general readings for the total lunar eclipse, supermoon, blood moon, flower moon for 26th, 27th of May, depending on where you are in the world. Now it's for the sign that is in the title of the video. It's a bulk introduction as ever. There'll be a timestamp that I'll put down below because I would suggest watch your sun, your moon, and your rising. And if you only get to watch one of them, watch your rising. Now, as ever, there's a link in the description down below for a birth chart, so you can find out your rising sign if you don't know it. And as general readings and general YouTube readings, standard advice applies. You know, if it don't fit, don't try and make it fit. Don't let me make decisions for you. It's not so much, well, I suppose this one is a take what resonates, because normally I would say for my more specific readings, ask a question. But this time I'm using basically oracle cards, and it's having a look at what energies I think this lunar eclipse, or I feel, or I intuit, I suppose would be a better way of saying it, or what the cards think anyway, that are bringing to us to experience throughout the effect of this lunar eclipse. Now, sometimes that can be up to 3 months. I've got stuck in my head from somewhere. I think 3 months for a lunar and 6 months for a solar. However, looking at the symbolism and looking at the astrology of it, it looks like it's definitely a build-up and a preparation of the solar eclipse when that arrives in 2 weeks, another 2 weeks' time. So I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher, looking at the astrology of this lunar eclipse, and also it's a full moon. So I will still be doing my full moon gods at play readings as well, where I will be looking also at the angels and demons and that sort of the symbolisms and the degree symbols of the lunar eclipse itself. Here, since it is a south node eclipse, that is also talking about letting things go, releasing, dealing with the past, all of that sort of stuff. So I thought I would have a look at the angel regarding the south node itself, which in this case is Menadel. But I also want to point out that this is under the influence of Neptune, 22 degrees Pisces. So under modern rulerships, it's happy, it's at home, it's at 22 degrees, it's a master number, giving it extra whammy. And have a look at Soul Garden Namaste TV, Serious Joy, sorry, on YouTube for more about step 22, as Kushwateki calls it. But this is conjunct Pallas, the asteroid Pallas, which a few astrologers have made something of. There's a great video. Well, there was a great note, but I'm sure there was a video about it. If I may suddenly think I'm imagining it, but about Neptune conjunct Pallas from Anastasia Cosmic Astrologer. But the one thing that I noticed that nobody else is talking about is that it is also conjunct the asteroid Orpheus. So Neptune conjunct Pallas is extra psychic whammy, extra psychic awareness, extra psychic atmosphere, psychically charged. It's also Pallas can be looking at the wise way to weaponize things. So I think we have to keep a very close eye on the media and see what symbols and metaphors and dreams and wishy-washy woolly ideas that they are pushing forward more and more and more in order to sway public opinion one way or another. Take that as you will. I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that, so I'm not listening to that sort of aspect of it. But when we look at the patent argument about the COVID vaccine, or we look at the various other economic arguments that abound on the planet, I wouldn't be surprised if something comes up. But with this also being conjunct Orpheus. Now, what do we know about Orpheus? He was a musician. and he descended into the underworld to bring back to life his lover Eurydice, who had been killed by a snake bite, and he braved all sorts of challenges and unfortunately failed on the last 5 yards. But there's this image of a descent into the underworld for heroic reasons. Now, a lot of the astrologers are saying that this is a letting go of past baggage. And to be honest, some of the degree symbols back this up. But with Neptune and Pallas together, we are able to dive into our own personal underworlds, Orpheus, and note those ideas and beliefs that have been used against us, even if it is us using them against us. You know, standard counseling sort of philosophy of it's not so much what other people have told you, it's what you learned as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old that you have to deal with. And let's face it, a 4, 5 or 6-year-old doesn't always get things right. So it looks like it's a perfect opportunity to dive into all those sorts of issues. Now, the angel, as I said, for this is Menadel. Now, as a degree angel, Menadel represents fear or fearlessness, and inner and outer work. So those, if we descend into our own underworlds, get the teeth in, then that is inner work that can have an effect on our lives, on the outer work, quite dramatically, I would say, under this Neptune Pallas Orpheus conjunction, all being ruled by Menadel. Now, Menadel is about liberation. So again, there's that letting go. Freedom and work, not freedom from work, but finding that work that is your great work, whatever your great work may be. It's associated with Mars. So there is all this diving into the underworld. It's not just to dive into the underworld and stay there and wallow in, oh, look, I've got this issue, and oh, look, I've got that. It's a dive in, do what you need to, get out again. Now, Menadel's also a guardian of some people born under the sign of Virgo. I've not got the degrees, but I've got the dates, 18th to the 23rd of September, traditionally. So I don't know if you have your birthday in that period, you may get a bit of extra whammy from this transit, purely from that angelic resonance. Now, the interesting thing is the Chandra degree, Chandra symbol or inside degree we have is icicles melting. And the description is soul timing, slow and formative, waiting for fullness and ripeness, outliving old stuck patterns by slowly wearing them out. Something that I think we are in the process of, certainly since last year and all the crazy astrology that we've been having since late 2019. Deep process, you experience lessons in humility and simplicity. An extravagant streak which relents only after relentless pressure. Now, can you see in this symbol, there's also that tension between the Saturn-Uranus square going on, the conflict and the attempting to balance the old with the new. In fact, it says, the next thing it says here is cross purposes. You have an attachment to personal inclination of the most stubborn kind, and yet a desperate drive to get beyond the shadow. Interior dialogue and dispute. I don't think this is going to necessarily be externally a dramatic full moon. With it, the normal full moon, if you worked in all sorts of jobs, you know full moon is always a crazy night. I think the eclipse aspect would hopefully calm that down a bit. Fingers crossed. But I think internally, it promises to be a doozy. The slow burning way and allowing pride to surrender without being made wrong. Elaborate maneuvers towards significant breakthrough, which backs up everything that I was saying. Now, the Sabian symbol. Now, here's a fascinating one. Let me scroll down to it to make sure I get it right. Where have you gone? Now, it's a flag turns into an eagle, the eagle into a chanticleer saluting the dawn. Now, I see that Saturn Uranus old versus new in that symbol as well. The eagle, although it's gone down, it was a symbol of Rome, it's a symbol of America. It's not the only country that has the eagle as one of its symbols. And it comes historically, if you like your ancient alien stuff, it comes from Babylonian times, and it was the symbol of Enlil. Where if you like your ancient aliens, you'll remember that Enlil is the one that tried to bump us all off because we were thinking too much and getting too bright. And it was his brother Enki who managed to save more than a few of us. Enki, if you're unfamiliar with Sumerian myths, you can look at Enki in a way as being a cross between Poseidon and Prometheus, because Enki was the one who gave mankind gifts and theoretically created us in the first place, and so therefore we're his pets, and he wants us to prosper, and ignore all the weird power dynamics of that statement. So in the background of this strange allegory, we recognise the deep-seated belief that the American nation and its basic democratic institutions were constituted to be the cradle for a new step in human evolution. How ironic that Dame Rudyard would look at it that way. And under modern context, absolutely. Under your ancient alien context, gets a bit weirder, doesn't it? But then again, so if you're into your conspiracy theories, this is a great one. Because the keynote of this symbol is the spiritualization and promotion of great symbols of a new age by minds sensitive to its precursory manifestations. How apropos right now, when you have everyone talking about the new age of Aquarius, that I still say we're not in it for a few hundred years yet, but we have that Aquarian energy, we have that air energy from the new 200-year, 800-year Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction cycle that has now entered the element of air. So even to a point, and I suppose this comes from my more scientific past, I'm a stickler for going, we are not yet in the age of Aquarius, but it really doesn't harm to start believing that we are, because of the good sides of it, because our beliefs and our actions defined by those beliefs will hopefully bring around that Aquarian paradise that everyone talks of, rather than maybe a totalitarian state, which is the shadow side of Aquarius. But, let's not talk about that one. So, carrying on with Dame Rudyard's interpretation, the flag is the abstract symbol of the nation. It becomes an eagle, another US symbol, when the concept is made alive by bold and transparent action. I suppose that relates to what I was just saying about the whole Age of Aquarius idea. The eagle symbolizes spiritual will and the power to rise from the highest possible altitude to the highest possible altitude of consciousness and purpose. Flying at such an altitude, the eagle is the first living creature to perceive the rising sun. Now, that he writes more about this, but I don't want this introduction to be too long. But I have not yet looked at the chart for the solar eclipse, and let's face it, I rely on David for the more technical understandings of all that anyway. But it will be interesting to see what I dig up about Amael for the full moon gods at play readings. Other than that, you can ask a question before this reading. Here's your opportunity now if you want to. I'm not going to guarantee you'll get an answer because it's not necessarily that sort of reading. But I'll bring the cards up in a second. So if you want to pause, ask your question, concentrate on it for a few minutes and start the video again. In the meantime, I'll bring up the cards. Okay, Taurus. If you're Taurus rising, this is happening in your eighth house or your eighth solar house, I suppose. If you're a Taurus sun, either way, we start with a very Taurus card. There's no place like home. Nestle into the sweetness. Talking about maintaining your own environment, your own materiality. Now, it looks like during this period that will it's not that your own home will be called into question, but that you will be called to stand up to defend it, speak out about it, be aware of new layers or extra layers to it that are not immediately obvious. There is a spiritual calling here because we have card number 10 from the Sacred Spirit, Cosmic Ancestors, voice your concerns. And it's also very much about, very much about listening to the voices of those who have gone before and emulating the wise ones. I'm not saying emulate all of them, just the wise ones. And that sense of sort of that Hierophant card sense is repeated with the Dion Fortune card that here represents ceremony. But Dion Fortune is very much about tuning into the higher levels of existence, spirituality, again backed up here with Keter, the crown of the tree of life, the first emanation within the tree of life from the Godhead, representing spirituality. But with Dion Fortune, it's very much about the perception of that when that is backed up with a tune to the call, tune in and turn on. So it's not tune in, turn on and drop out, just tune in and turn on. So there's something, some extra layer that is close to home that you will be getting to explore and possibly stand up and defend, or at least stand up and speak out about. Now, because the eighth house, it says here, this transformational area of your life is about shared resources and intense emotions. And it's quite transformational. It is a transformational house, the eighth house. So this can be taken on so many levels. If you work with spirit, there may be some form of new entity coming in for you. If you are politically active, there is a reason to stand up and point out, yes, but this community serves not just these two functions, but this one as well. And it's essential it is preserved, maintained, fed, watered, propagated, whatever. The real sense of this is more important than you thought, or than we thought. Than we thought, I think, would be a better way to put it. Beware with this Dumas, a completely fictional entity out of the Dictionary Infernal. With this Dumas, it says beware misinformation. But from the Wisdom of the House Knight, we've got the Summon card, which to me is linking to the ancestors, the Dion Fortune, the Keter. But it's an eclipse. It's an eclipse reading. It can be double-edged. So again, like I said to Aries about what they're doing, do your research. Because you don't want to be standing up and speaking out some essential secret in reaction to information that is false, in reaction to information that is a lie. I didn't expect to go there, but the way am I saying, it's almost as if there was some form of fake information that's put out there that can make you go, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. and the other person going, I knew it, that's why I put the story out there. Now I know where the whatever is, or how to proceed, or what have you. So again, do your research. Do your if you're standing up and speaking out, make sure you're standing up and speaking out because of something valid. However, even with that warning, we have this, the Aries got this one as well. One that I struggled to pronounce and I swear didn't exist before 2 weeks ago. But card number 44, Ailahia, representing success. So there is some form of transformation coming here, which involves you. I mean, like I say, it could be, if you work with spirit, there could be a new entity coming into your life. If you are politically or community active, you could well find yourself pointing out, hang on a minute, this is important. You can't just bulldoze through it, or you can't just disrupt the economy of this place, or, you know, this is valid, this is important. Let's have a look what the tarot have got to say. Yes, the results, the good results for you to find in general, you know, not just because of your efforts from here, but if anything, inspiring your efforts here. They come close to home. Three of Wands, your ship's coming in while you're at home. So, yes, now what was I saying about standing up and defending? Attuned to the Call has got Four of Pentacles with it, showing that defensive urge, but also showing the urge to turn your back on other concerns that are just not as important. Right amount of cards again. But the Summon card, we've got the Ace of Cups. So that tells me that you can actively bring something positive, something good, something new into your life. But bear in mind that is, you have to do that. It's not just going to drop in from the sky. And you have to be aware of that misinformation because there is fake light around you, Sun reversed. You have to look for the light that is within, not the light that is without. But again, also what I was saying about having to stand up and speak out and take some action. We've got the Keeper of the Scales, representing fairness and balance, but clarified by Justice reversed. So I do feel that there is some form of wrong coming. I'd say with that misinformation there as well, maybe. But there is, not to freak you out, but there's some form of wrong coming that you will want to stand up and say, nah, not here. That's all I want to say really with that one, because I believe that you're going to be quite successful with dealing with this Page of Cups here. This is actually really quite a short reading. I did not expect it to be anywhere near as short as this. Misinformation will just lead to just general poverty and lack of guidance. But this Page of Cups, holding this cup, amplifying this Ace of Cups here. So if you're working with spirits, something new is coming in and you will benefit from this. You will evolve due to this. But it is all centered around your home base, and should be a transformative experience for you. Oh yeah, and get out banner waving when you get the right push. That's it, Taurus. That's really cool, actually. That's a really nice little reading. I didn't expect it to be as quick as that. If it means anything to you, comment down below. There will be Full Moon Gods at Play readings coming out. I will no doubt be doing a show with David about the Astrology of the Eclipse. So yeah, come join. See you later.